image on the map is the demarcated region of the Douro. So just for you to have a notion, this is already Spain. Yeah, this is Castile and Leon. Now, we are talking about the oldest demarcated region in the world. It was established in 1756 by our Prime Minister, the Marquis of Pombal. And it's the only region in the world where we can actually produce words for different reasons. First of all, the climate. We have a microclimate here. So, very cold during the winter time, at least for us. Negative temperatures, snow, and incredibly hot during the summertime. 40, 45 degrees Celsius most of the time. We burn there. That's a fact. Now, we also have the soil, which is made of schist or shale. That's rock over there. Now, the schist has the ability to absorb the waters from the rain, creating reserves on the ground. And the vineyards, they will nourish themselves through their long roots that can get to the 20 meters long. At the same time, the schist will be able to absorb the heat during the day, and it will release it during the night. So the roots of the vineyards will stay with the same temperature all year long. That's perfect for the growing of the grapes. And finally, we have the grape varieties permitted to be grown there. Now, I'm talking about 120 different grape varieties permitted to be grown. They are all Portuguese, and we cannot import any other grape varieties without the permission of the Institute of Port Wine. That regulates everything concerning our world. So port wine must come from there, and it must be written on the label of the bottle, made in Portugal. Otherwise, it's not port wine at all. Now, the house Ramos Pinto is self-sufficient. We don't buy grapes, we own them. We have 4 estates. 2 located right here on a place called Pinhão, at the heart of the region, and 2 right here on a place called Foscoa, very close to Spain. And we have 2 vinification centers for the production of our wines. So one at Pinhão for the production of our port wines, another at Foscoa for the production of our still wines from the Douro Valley. And the main question is, how do we produce ports? Okay, let's start with the harvest, which is handmade, by the way, between August and October. The ladies will cut the grapes. The men will carry them in plastic boxes, around 25 kilos each. It's still very hard work, and I'm going to explain to you why. Because more than 2/3 of this region are completely mountainous. So it's not easy at all to go up and down the slopes of the hills with that weight. We're going to use small tractors only to carry the grapes to the vinification centers in order to start the fermentation process. And if we think about the fermentation process in a very normal way, we're going to end up with a single product, which is, do you know the name? More or less like that. Well, it's wine. That's it. Okay? It's still wine. Douro wine in this case, very good, but just wine. We want to produce sports. So we're going to change some things. Now, by the 2nd or 3rd day of the natural fermentation of the grapes, when we already have must, which is the first step on the fermentation process, we're going to add to that must wine brandy. It's not a regular wine brandy. That wine brandy contains 77 degrees of alcohol, so it can kill us. And it will come from France, from the Cognac region. So we're going to add to 80% of must, only 20% of that wine brandy. That wine brandy will stop immediately the natural fermentation of the grapes. It will fortify the must. In consequence, we have the port wines which are very alcoholic, between 19 and 22 degrees of alcohol. At the same time, that wine brandy will preserve, almost crystallizing, the natural sugar of the grapes. That's why the ports are so sweet. So that's our secret. Please don't tell, okay? Now, when this process is done, we have brand new ports. We're going to wait a few months on the estates to balance those wines. And then, on the following spring, we're going to carry them. Not in boats anymore. It's quite romantic, but not practical at all. So in trucks to here, to Gaia, where we're going to age them. Always using oak. That's what we have around us, yeah? And we're going to age them according to their different categories. And we have 3 of them. we have the tonies that you can see by yourselves in smaller casks, around 650 liters each. And on the other cellar, we're going to have the whites and the rubies in huge oak vats that may contain up to 200,000 liters each. And when we talk about these three categories, we are talking about blended wines, which means that the enologist will choose already made and already aged ports that will come from different years, different estates, different grape varieties, to blend them and create a single port with a lot of quality, but with an average age. That's how we produce the majority of our port wines. So, the whites and the rubies, they will age on these huge oak vats. They will have less contact with the wood and with the oxygen. So therefore, they will maintain their primal characteristics intact. The colors will be darker. The aromas and bouquets will be of fruit. And in our house, we produce whites and rubies that will go from 3 up to 7 years old average age. Now, the tonies, as you can see by yourselves, they are very much in contact with the wood and with the oxygen. So therefore, they will gain secondary characteristics. The colors will be wooden lighted colors. And the aromas and bouquets will be of dry fruits, caramel, honey, spices, everything that we find inside the memory of the oak. And again, we produce tonies that will go from 4 up to 30 years old average age. Now, all these ports will be blended, filtered, bottled, right here in Gaia. They are ready to be consumed. You can open a bottle and drink it very calmly. Half a year, 8 months, the wine will not be spoiled, okay? So don't rush. Yeah? Now, we do have an exception, the single harvest wines. They are the vintages and the late bottle vintages, or LBVs. Now, those two ports are very fruity, very similar to rubies, but they are not blended wines at all. They are unique, outstanding quality production year wines. So they are a miracle of nature. When we have a wine with those specific characteristics, we send a sample to the Institute of Port Wine. And if they agree with us, they will declare to this company a vintage year. To us, it's a huge honor. The last one was 2011, by the way. So those two ports will age on these huge oak vats. The vintage up to the 2nd year, the LBV up to the 4th. Then they are going to be directly bottled. And the magic will start right there. Why? Because they are unfiltered wines. So they will have a huge capacity to grow better with age inside unopened bottles. So we can preserve an open bottle of an LBV, let's say for 10 years. That one will be perfect at the end of that time. With a vintage, we are talking about decades. The oldest one that we possess is from 1880. I can assure you it's perfect to be consumed. We don't sell it, by the way. Now, we need to preserve those bottles quite well. Always unopened, so closed. And on the horizontal way. We want the wine to touch the cork as much as possible, so the air will not go inside it. And in a room like this one, no sunlight and low temperature, then it's perfect. When we want to open one of these special bottles, we need to place it on the vertical position around 2 days, because as they are unfiltered, they will create sediment. We want it to go down. Then we open the bottle, we let it breathe. We will decant it or filter it to remove the sediment. And finally, we can drink it. With an LBV, we should drink it within 5 days maximum. With a vintage, we need to hurry up. Only 3 days to drink it. And it's quite logical. As soon as we open one of these special bottles, the oxidation process will be very fast in comparison to the other already blended and filtered pours. So this is our explanation. Now I ask you, do you have any questions? Any doubts? Are you okay?
Where do you buy the barrels from? Or do you...
We buy them from here.